Oh, how's everybody doing? So, since summer's upon us, we're gonna try and do most of our filming outside, if we're able to. Hopefully the water, the river isn't a distraction too much, but we'll see. But I've been working on this video for a while now. And this video is gonna be about the Tanto. So the Tanto was developed between 798 and 1185 of the Henya, middle to late Henya period. Thoroughly got refined during Kamakura, if I remember correctly, period, where they started making it more robust and less prone to breaking. Because the problem was, the Samurai only had the Tachi at the time and needed something more that could, you know, penetrate underneath armor. Hence, they developed the Tanto. Now, believe it or not, the Tanto has had some influences for other weapons, like the Wagasashi. Because this is only a 13-inch blade, so Shobu style, which is kind of good. But the problem was, sometimes there wasn't enough reach. So as the Tanto developed more and more over the years, by the way, all these knives I've done reviews on, except for 3. And I'll be getting to those reviews. But anyways, as the years went on and warfare went more to, instead of horseback, on foot, they needed something a little bit more that where they could parry with, but still get used in close quarters combat. So what they did was, they would lengthen the blade on them. Unfortunately, no one can buy this one because this is a custom job I had done. Whereas that last one was 13, this is a 16-inch cutting edge on it. This is like one of my favorite custom jobs I've had done. So they would literally make them a little bit longer, because then they could use it as on their offhand to deflect and then attack. But also you could still get into close quarters and, you know, do what you need to do. But over the years, the Tanto has developed more and more and more. Even though during the Edo period, they got more ornate, more ceremonial, basically. They were also used for seppuku. And there's various lengths. The shortest that would be considered a Tanto is about 11 inches. They do have them smaller though. Tanto means short sword. So, could you call it a sword or you call it a dagger? It could be both, actually. Especially something like this definitely would be considered a short sword, for sure. Whereas this is definitely considered like a dagger, but you can still consider it a short sword. So, all depends on how you see it. Now, with Tantos, they're normally all designed after the Tachi or the Katana blade. There's no real, like, set blade geometry for the Tanto. So, like, This one's a shobu, so if you had a shobu sword, you could actually pair it up pretty easily. This one is a shinogi zakuri. The only difference is it has a double bohi. So if you have a sword with a double bohi, a shinogi, you can pair it up very easily. So that way it doesn't look too oddballish on your daisho set. Most of them were a hira zakuri, 11 to about 13 inches. The reason being is in a shorter form, the hira is less prone to cracking and breaking. Whereas in a tachi or katana form, they're prone to, during forging, cracking, breaking. They're really prone to bending because there's not much structure to it. That's why they kind of pulled away from it, but they kept it in a Tanto form and a Wakizashi form, because less prone to that, and especially as short as this, it'd be less prone to bending because it's a much shorter blade. Not saying it won't, but it can. So that's kind of the back history of the Tanto. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because the Tanto doesn't get that much coverage. You always see the katana, which is fine because it's the most iconic sword. We're starting to see an insurgent on tachis, which is good. I like a good tachi with a really deep sori curve to it. It's kind of like the Wakizashi. You sometimes see the Wakizashi and sometimes you don't. But you very rarely see like the Tanto and people cutting with the Tanto. I love Tantos. Tantos are badass. That's why they're, like I said, you can classify it as a very short sword or a dagger. Because they did start making them during the Kamakura period with thicker blades, so the tips wouldn't break, especially getting it up beneath armor. So they did make the blades thicker. But then, as years went on, people started noticing the Tanto, and it was kind of interesting because in the 80s, the Tanto started getting recognition in this country a lot. And we're going to get into that right now. So in the 80s, we had Enter the Ninja. Canon was starting to make ninja movies. Granted, we all know now, they are all bullshit. But as a kid, they were cool as hell to watch. So, knife companies started recognizing, hey, Tanto would be cool if we made our own version. So this is what's called the Americanized version of the Tanto. Now this is one of them. You can see it has an acute angle. That way it gave it a more robust tip, much stronger tip for piercing. So you could really thrust into something. They also say so you can pry on things with it. This is my personal opinion. I don't think you should be using your knife to pry on something that's going to be pretty heavy duty, that's going to break the tip of your knife off. Because really, that's not what a knife is used for. That's my personal opinion. You can do whatever you want. But, so America made it this way. Now, in Japan, they do have some swords that have that acute angle on it. Normally, if you see those in like antique swords and whatnot, it's because it was done that way to save money. That was the only reason why they would put that angle on there. Same, like you might find some antique Tantos with this acute angle on it. And like I said, it was due that the tip broke off you need it fixed quickly, or you didn't have the money, so they just did that. That was the only reason why that angle's there. Because really, for a slashing knife, yeah, it will work, but it's not as effective as a rounded tip. So this is more for thrusting, for piercing, and, well, like I said, they say so you can pry with it. But this is like one version of what's called the Americanized Tanto. Okay. Now another version, now I got 3 knives. I had this, I've been wanting to do this video for several months, but I had to get certain knives in order to do this. This is one of them. So now the other one I got, that's a Americanized style Tanto. I like, because I haven't seen anybody do this before. At least I haven't. Some of you might have. And that's this one. So it's got an angle there, and it's got an angle there, and then your cutting edge is right here. So that is another version of Americanized Tanto. Now most Tanto knives, they're between 7.5, 10, maybe 11 max nowadays. Which is fine. This one has a 7.5 inch cutting edge. But again, we have the nice acute angles here. Nice robust tip. So you're not snapping that tip off. And these are the two I haven't done reviews on, so I will be doing reviews on these. But I will put a link, if I remember to all these knives, except for my custom Tanto. Like I said, you can't buy that, where you can pick these up. But yeah, America decided to make their own version of the Tanto, so that's what they came up with. So basically, they took part of Japan's history of that acute angle and they just dropped it on the knife. That's what they did. You know, that's all. And that's fine. I like a good Tanto. I would say I like Tantos a little bit more than I like a Bowie knife, because some have that really deep clip point, which you could probably bend that clip point if you do some stupid shit with it. But something like this, like I say, you shouldn't pry with your knife, but I think it'll be kind of hard to break them. But I've noticed now, though, in recent years, people making Tanto knives that are modern, but still in the traditional style and look of the Tanto, which I thoroughly appreciate. And it's not very often I come across some that I like. A lot of times I hate them because I think they look like shit. And that's my personal opinion. So let's go ahead and take a look at more modern looking Tanto. All right, so now we get into the more modern look of the Tanto, but still keeping the traditional style of them. Like I said, not very many I come across that I like, and I really like a lot. I will drop a card here or here on this one because I have done a review on it, and I think they did a really, really good job. And it's this one right here. And this is actually a real wooden saya or scabbard, and it actually does have a collar like a traditional Tanto on it. And I just love the look of this one. Even though it's more modern, I think it's hella cool. It's got a nice guard where your finger just sits in there. So I really appreciate that people are trying to do a modern style, but also keep the traditional look of them, which I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, I found some that just look like crap. To me, they're trying too hard. But something like this is really, I like it. Nice black ebony scales. I mean, you can't beat that. That's nice. And another one I got just for this video is this one right here. And this, you could, when you take this out of the box, I've been keeping it in the box till I do this video. The leather smell just hits you. I mean, so there's no question if this sheath is actually real leather. I mean, I love the smell of leather, fresh leather. But here's another one. And it's what I like about this is it's very basic. No over lavishing, no nothing. Very, very basic. Rosewood handle, just plain rosewood handle. I'll be doing a review on this one too. Now this sucker almost has a 10-inch blade on it. This thing is nice and it's simple. It's another thing about it. It's very simple design. You have a tiny little guards to keep your hands from sliding out. But I do, like I said, I appreciate the modern look with the traditional style still. So when it's done right, it's very appealing. Even something as simple as this. You know, because you could tell automatically that this is a Tanto. No doubt about it. You know? So it's nice to see that people are actually doing that now instead of, because before we would just see, you know, the traditional style, which I love, or the American style Tanto. But when it came to a modern with a traditional look, very rarely. Very rarely did you see it. So yeah, here's two that are really nice. And like I said, if you haven't seen the review on this, go check it out. So, where does it lead to with this video? I'm hoping this gets more people interested instead of just the katana, that people start looking into the Tanto a little bit more too. And like, if you're gonna get a custom job done, you can do what I did. Take a Tanto and have the blade lengthened. You can make it wider. I mean, have fun with it. I mean, it's basically a defensive weapon is what it is. Used for parrying. You can use it for survival. It's a useful tool and a useful weapon, because that's basically what it is. So hopefully a lot of you like this video. If you want to see me do a little bit more reviews on more modern style or American style Tantos, let me know in the comments down below and I can see what I can do. I'm hoping from here I can move into different types of wakizashis, you know, because you're starting to, they've been around for a while, the apocalyptic, you know, style and whatnot. That's the only type of Tanto I didn't get, was like the apocalypse or a zombie Tanto. They're out there, but they're expensive. So I hope you like this one, and we'll see you on the next one.